Hey YouTubers, thanks for tuning in to today's video. This is going to be something a little different that we haven't done before. This is going to be a gear review. Just want to start this video off by saying I'm not sponsored by any of these companies, actually any companies. So my opinions aren't swayed one way or the other from any sort of company. This is just my honest opinion and what we found using these cameras this last year. This video isn't going to be a super technical. I'm not going to get into trigger speeds and different settings and all that. I'll run a brief explanation of how we use the camera, how the camera worked for us, what we liked, what we didn't like, etc. With that being said, these are the cameras in today's videos. I have a stealth camera. This is a 14 megapixel camera. This is a Bushnell camera. This is a 12 megapixel camera. This is a Moultrie camera. This is a 6 megapixel camera. The Cuddeback camera. It's an 8 megapixel camera. I have this old Prio's Truth Cam, which is a 7 megapixel camera. And we have another stealth camera that comes in at 10 megapixels. So just to get it out of the way, the price point on these cameras, these are 2 for $100. I got these at Sam's Club. This is a $150 camera. I got these cameras on sale at Cabela's for $25. This is a $80 to $100 camera, depending if you can catch a sale on it or not. I have no idea how much this camera's worth. We've had it forever. Couldn't find anything about it on the internet. This camera is also another 2 for $100 camera at Cabela's. Alright, so let's dive right into it. My likes and dislikes of these cameras. We'll start with this stealth camera. My favorite thing about this camera is the camo, and it's really like a textured camo. I don't know if you can see it in the video or not, but there's somewhat of a texture to it. This thing blends in with the tree very well. I've had a few trail cameras stolen now, and the thing I like about this one is you can set it up. If you don't walk right into this trail camera, you're not going to know it's there. Nobody's going to see it. And if you'd had to, you could put a lock on it. I haven't broke down and bought locks yet. The things I like about this camera, it is surprisingly good at taking videos. Even the audio on these videos comes through. It's really incredible for just being a trail camera how well that works. The pictures are outstanding. They're super crisp, super clear. I will say I ran these cameras for deer season this year, and normally I go in, I do a custom setup, I do a 3 photo burst with various trigger speeds. What I found was that this camera, after I left the tree, would start taking pictures right then, and it basically never stopped taking pictures till I came back and pulled the cards. And if that was a week later, I'd literally have 20,000 photos as it was taking pictures every 3 seconds. So what I did is I went into it, I deleted my custom program for it, and I tried to just use the QuickSet. It has a QuickSet 1 and a QuickSet 2. And so I used the QuickSet. I used the QuickSet 1, which is a single photo. QuickSet 2, I believe, is a video on this camera. Even with that, this photo still took non-stop pictures for 7 days. So I ended up with a lot of pictures of nothing, but I also ended up with a lot of pictures of deer. So kind of have to weigh and balance that. Luckily I had a large SD card in it. The Bushnell camera. This camera takes probably some of the best photos as far as quality. They're super crisp, super clear. It's very rare to have a blurred photo on this camera. Whatever it is though, they got it figured out. This camera takes awesome pictures. The video with it, I personally had issues with that, but the photo end of it made up for it. This camera is a little bit harder to set up than the camera I just talked about, the stealth camera. It's not impossible, but it just takes a little bit longer is all. The Moultrie camera. These little guys, for a price point of $25, are pretty incredible. The one thing I don't like about them is they actually do flash. It's not an infrared flash. The nighttime photos on these things, if it's within 10 feet, you'll end up with a decent photo. If it's past that, you can't see anything. The nighttime photos are lacking, but just for a cheap, inexpensive camera, these things are awesome. The daytime photos, as you'll see right here, are pretty good, really. I mean, there's no doubt you could definitely use these and it'd be a viable source for tracking. Another note on this camera, I don't know what was going on with these. We got these at Cabela's. They were on sale last Christmas for $25. So I went in there a few times and I honestly bought every one they had. So we have a bunch of them. We run the heck out of them. Towards the end of the season this year, of trail camera season, I don't know what was going on, if our batteries were running low or what was happening, but we weren't getting any photos out of any of our Moultrie cameras. So I'm hoping it was just a battery issue. I'm going to test that out this winter, getting ready for this coming season, but I hope it was just a battery issue because these are great little cameras. I run these a lot of the time on public land where I know there's a lot of other people, just because I don't want someone stealing my $100 trail camera. If someone does happen to steal these, which they have, I mean, it sucks and I wish it didn't happen, but it's $25 compared to $100. Alright, the old Cuddy back. This camera and me go way back, and we don't have a very good relationship. I'm going to be honest with you. The only thing I like about this camera is the strap system. Rather than having a strap that you wrap around the tree and have to cinch through the buckle, this strap has a hook and a loop. So you wrap it around the tree, you hook it, pull it tight. That's honestly the only thing I like about this camera. When I bought this camera, it was, I think, around $90. I went to put batteries, a card, etc. into it. My first observation with this camera is the screw on the back of it. And I don't like that just because then you have to have a tool. You could use a quarter or whatever, but you have to unscrew this screw just to put batteries in it. None of these other cameras do you need to carry any tools or anything. So I didn't like that right off the start. What made me like it even less right off the start, I put batteries in it, close it, and there's a plastic piece underneath of this that this metal ring hooks into that holds this door shut. That broke literally the first time I put batteries in it. So I kind of taped that together and I had it working. So then I go to put my SD card in the top right here. So this also has a metal ring that you have to position over the back, just like that. When I closed that lid for the first time out of the box, these little hinge points right here broke. So I don't know if I got a lemon from the factory, you know, just a dud camera, or what happened if they had a bad batch. I called customer service. They were kind of wishy-washy on it. They didn't believe that I had just bought the camera and that was the first thing I'd ever done with it, but they eventually agreed to warranty it, so I sent it back. After getting it back, it looked like a new camera. I honestly don't know if they fixed the one I had or if they just sent me a new one. But regardless, I loaded batteries, SD card in it, took it out to the field. I have one group of photos from this camera that it worked on. Every other time I've tried to use this camera, I've had issues with it not working. It'll take like one photo and then it won't take any photos for the rest of the week. And I don't know what's going on with that. I put fresh batteries in it every time, fresh formatted SD card, but this camera just doesn't work for me. Me and it don't get along, never did from the start. The very first trail camera we ever got. This is a Primo's TruthCam 48 HD. This camera is pretty remarkable. Up until this year, we used this camera for everything. Like I say, it was the first one we ever had. We were constantly moving this thing around. And even once we had a whole 5-gallon bucket full of other cameras, this was still one of our go-tos. It's just reliable, takes good photos night or daytime, super easy setup. This year, one of the places we had this camera, there was a bear, and a bear ripped this exact camera off the tree, chewed up the insides of it. If you can see there on the switches, there's some holes on the inside, but miraculously this thing was still working, taking a video. And it actually, I mean, this camera's broken now, but that turned out to be an awesome video. You can see the camera bouncing around inside the mouth of the black bear, and it was really pretty cool. The other thing I don't like about the Cuddyback system, every one of these cameras you can strap to a tree and open up the front door. Whether it's the Bushnell, open up the door, change your settings. The Stealth Cam, open the front door, change your settings. Or even the $25 Moultrie, mount it on the tree, open the front door, all your settings are right here. My arch nemesis, the Cuddyback. You strap this thing to a tree, you forget to turn it on, you have to unstrap it from the tree. Control panel's on the back. Now I will say it's a very user-friendly control panel with the dial. There's 1 or 2 buttons back there. I think only one. Well, there's an A and a B. Other than that, everything is done with the dial. I love that. That's super simple, super fast. You can do it with gloves. I like it. I just wish it was on the front. The last camera here is another stealth camera. This one is very similar to the Camo one, except this is a 14 megapixel, this is a 10 megapixel. All the same settings, same programming, same everything. I would say these two cameras are the easiest to program, to get in there, adjust your settings. You can do 3 photo burst, 2 photo, you can do video of various lengths. They're a very user-friendly camera. As for programming the stealth cameras, super easy. Like I said earlier, you strap this thing on the tree, come in here, scroll through your settings. We do a 3 photo burst on everything just because sometimes things walk by so fast or just slow enough that if you do just a single photo, sometimes you'll only get the hindquarters or just the middle or something. You know, you might not get every piece of the animal. So we found if you go into your custom settings, do a 3 photo burst with this camera, it works awesome. The Bushnell. This camera is still pretty easy to program, but as you can see inside there, it does have 5 or 6 buttons in there, and it's not, I wouldn't say complicated, but just not quite as user friendly. The Moultrie, super easy to set up. You can just go into the setup. We just used one of the already programmed functions in these cameras. We didn't dive into the custom program on these. Cuddyback, like I said, gotta open the back panel, turn your dial to whatever setting you want. Super easy, very user friendly. I wish it would have worked for me. This one, the old Primos, this thing was very easy. Little switches here, and you just put it to whichever settings you want all the way across, and you're good to go. This stealth cam is the exact same as this one. Like I said, we went into the custom settings on these, did a 3 photo burst. So let's get right down to it. Let's look at the photos from the stealth cam. These are some photos from the Bushnell. These are photos from the Moultrie. Very rare photo from the Cuddeback. I hate to say it, but I do not have the footage from this camera. This camera is actually my brother's. I don't have any of those files. I will hopefully get some of those soon. And here's some images from the other stealth camera. I just want to show you guys what's out there and the pros and cons we had with what we used. So now, if I were to rate these from my favorite to least favorite, I'd have to go with the Camo Stealth Cam for number 1, the Brown Stealth Cam for number 2. The reason these two are my favorite is because they take awesome photos and videos. They're almost the easiest to set up. My third favorite camera would have to be the Bushnell. This thing takes amazing photos, and I honestly don't think I've ever had one blurry photo out of this camera. It's my third favorite. Number 4 on the list would be the Moultrie camera. If this camera took a little bit better nighttime photos, it would be number 1 on the list, purely because of the price point. For that, coming in at $25, this thing is amazing. It really is. I mean, you can't beat it. For daytime photos, I would choose this any day just because of the price point. Next is the old Primos. This thing was almost bear proof. Well, it is bear proof, certified bear proof by Montana Ridge Outdoors. This thing was awesome. It was a trooper. And as you probably guessed, just due to my experience with this camera, this is my least favorite. This is the camera that is out of commission. I won't be using it anymore. It's unreliable. There's nothing worse than going out and checking a trail camera. It's been up for 2 weeks. You want to see a big whitetail or a big bull elk or something, and there's 0 photos on it. It shows full battery. It's on, formatted SD card, and you have 0 pictures to show for it. It's just really disappointing, all the time and effort you put into finding a spot and there's nothing on it. So hopefully my experience with Cuddeback isn't like other people's. I've heard they're great cameras. You know, this is like when we were growing up, Cuddeback was the only brand camera you ever heard people talk about. So I really think it was probably just my experience with a lemon of a camera, but I don't know. Because of my experience, I know I won't be getting any more of them though. So there you have it. Stealth camera for the win. These things are awesome. Like I said, these are 2 for $100, so coming in at $50. Price point's good. Quality is outstanding. I know I'm going to be buying more of these right here. So let us know down in the comments how you like this video. I know it's something totally different for us to do. We don't really get into the whole gear reviews and any of that, but I've had a lot of people ask me what kind of cameras we run, and this is it, guys. So get out there, get yourself a camera, go get some cheap ones, go get some little bit more expensive ones if you want the high quality videos, a little bit better photos. Either way, just get out there and enjoy the outdoors. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also check us out on social media at Montana Ridge Outdoors. Thanks, guys.